Hello, second grade superstars. This is Miss Wade again. So today I wanted to read a story to you. I chose this story because it's really, really good. The pictures are wonderful. The story is really great. But what I like about it is the little girl in the story sort of learns how powerful her imagination is. And I know we might eventually get a little bored with our days, but you gotta remember, you've always got your imagination. It's free, it's in your head, and no one can stop you from using it. So I wanted to read this story to kind of give you some ideas, and when we're all done reading it, I'll give you an activity that you can do to sort of practice using your imagination. So this story is called The Whisper, and it's written and illustrated by Pamela Zagarenski. And Pamela Zagarenski is an award-winning author and illustrator. All right, so as always, we've got our title page, The Whisper. Here's our author and illustrator, and here's our publisher. I also want to show you up here is a dedication. So this book also has a dedication page. So it says, to Anne, my editor and friend, for your trust and honesty, Martha and Basho, my rocks, Abby, Luca, Ryan, and Harper, the wonder in my life, Emily Bronte, the black widow spider who so inspired. I wonder what that means. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. There once was a little girl who loved stories. She loved how the words and pictures took her to new and secret places that existed in a world all her own. The characters became her friends, and quite often she grew to love them. One afternoon, while waiting for school to be dismissed, the little girl noticed a mysterious book perched high up on a single shelf. "What's that book?" she asked her teacher. "That is a magical book of stories," replied her teacher. "It was a gift from my grandmother when I was just about your age. I have an idea. Would you like to borrow it for the night?" "Oh yes, please, thank you," said the little girl, just as the clock struck 3. The teacher gave her the book, and with great anticipation, the little girl sprinted out the door and ran all the way home. Anticipation means she couldn't wait. So here's the girl, and she's running. And all these letters are falling out of the book as she runs along. And over here we have a fox. Looks like the fox is catching all the letters. And if you look, you can see words. I see lion, secret, rabbit, honey, moon, fox, whale. And if you look really close, you might find the word whisper. Once home, the little girl greeted her dog and ate supper. And when she was just about to burst with excitement, she escaped to her room to read. The little girl opened the book and began turning through the pages one by one. Each picture was more beautiful and curious than the next. By the time she arrived at the very last page, she could scarcely see, for her eyes were filled with tears. Where were the words? Where were the stories? It's just not a book of stories without any words, she thought. And there's the fox going up. And if you look, there's a rabbit. My dog Pedro really wants to play right now, so you might hear chew toys in the background. As the little girl paged through the wordless book. She heard the wind blow and then a small whisper. Dear little girl, don't be disappointed. You can imagine the words. You can imagine the stories. Start with a few simple words and imagine from there. Remember, beginnings, middles, and ends of stories can always be changed and imagined differently. There are never any rules, rights, or wrongs in imagining. Imagining just is. The whisper sounded so knowing and wise to the little girl that she opened the book to the first page and began. And here's our fox again and a little rabbit. At first, it felt difficult to imagine a story, so she looked harder at the picture. Are the bears best friends? She wondered. Maybe the blue bear is bringing honey as a gift. Bears love honey. Blue Bear's Visit. Now that's a good title, she thought. Then she began to tell herself a story. Blue Bear arrived on the first day of spring. He promised... The little girl studied the second picture. There's that little rabbit again, she thought. I wonder what that man is saying to the magnificent ox. I know, the secret. Mr. Ox, you must please promise not to tell anyone, but we need your help. Last week... The words began to come more and more easily to the little girl. Then the words grew into sentences, and the sentences became stories. The quest. Their 100-mile journey began in a sturdy wooden boat. Are we there yet? Asked the rabbit. In another 2 days and 1 night, replied Lion. Oh, that's a very long time. I forgot. Please remind me again. Where are we going? Asked Rabbit. Tiger's Prayer. All the creatures of the land near and far would be coming, and preparations were being made. The clown in the pointed hat would play music on his accordion. The wind horse would jump through hoops. Tea would be served exactly at noon, for Tiger had something important to say. A birthday party. As instructed, we arrived at exactly 3:33. 1 4-leaf clover and a large pot of hot steeping tea had been purposely placed near the entrance of the woods. An owl perched in a tree to our left asked, "Hoo hoo," and we promptly answered with the secret password. Our job was to bring the birthday cake, vanilla with vanilla cream frosting and black raspberry filling with exactly 6 candles on top. Pan was very particular, and you could never quite know what to expect. But he insisted on throwing the surprise birthday party for... the magical cloak. One night, a mysterious man in an elaborate cloak sailed into our harbor. A cloak is like a cape. Quite quickly, it became obvious to us that he was some kind of wizard or magician, for he could blow bubbles in the shapes of things. What was even more extraordinary was that the bubbles, once released, became real. Before long, enormous white whales filled our once calm harbor. Amazing as it was to see, we had to do something quickly to... the golden key. That very morning, Owl told us he would pick us up at midnight. We must be on time and prepared for anything. He held the small golden key tightly in his beak as we flew into the indigo night sky. We were ready to face word by word, hour after hour, the little girl imagined an entire story for each page. And when the moon was full and bright, she grew sleepy and drifted off into a dream world woven out of the threads of the pictures and the stories she had imagined. So there she is asleep. There's the fox. Can you find the rabbit? When she woke, the little girl felt grateful for the small, knowing whisper. Already she missed her new friends, the ox, the owl, and the tiger. She yearned to open the book once again, but the sun was up over the horizon and the birds were already fluttering about, chirping their morning songs. She did not want to be late for school, so she tidied herself, scooped up the book, and rushed out the door. Notice she has a crown. Along the path, she met a fox holding a curiously round package. "Excuse me, little girl," said the fox. "I believe I have the words to your book. I saw them spill away, and because I am a very clever kind of fox, I caught them in my net just before they drifted too far off." "Oh, thank you," replied the little girl, feeling a bit confused. "Now please, before you leave, could I bother you for a small favor?" asked the fox. "Why, of course," answered the girl. The fox thanked the little girl, and the little girl thanked the fox, and she gathered the book and the bundle of words and hurried down the path towards school once again. "I am so sorry I am late," said the little girl, still catching her breath. "There was a whisper, and I imagined stories for every picture, and I overslept, and the words, I didn't know that they had fallen away, but the clever fox caught them in his net, but I loved your book, and I almost forgot. Thank you. I have so many stories to tell you." "I can't wait to hear," replied the teacher with a smile. The Fox and the Grapes. A famished fox saw some clusters of ripe black grapes hanging from a vine. She resorted to all her tricks to get them, but wearied herself in vain, for she could not reach them. At last she turned away, beguiling herself of her disappointment and saying, "The grapes are sour and not ripe as I thought." And those words are crossed out, and it says, "But this fox is of the very clever kind." So she imagined her story differently, and the grapes tasted ever so sweet. The end. So whose imagining was that, I wonder? Was it the girls or the foxes? Or both? All right, so here's an activity that you can do. As I was reading, you may have noticed that I paused when there was a new picture. So what you can do is go back to one of those pictures that you like and hit pause on the recording, and then you need to come up with your own story. You can tell the story, or you can write the story, or you could draw pictures to add to the story. It's more fun if you do it with someone. So if you have someone who can help you tell the story, that's even better. You know that our stories have characters, setting, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's really up to you what the story is. And if you start the story and want to change something, you can, because it's you and your imagination. And I hope you enjoyed this story. It is one of my favorite books. I was gonna read to you in class, but this is the next best thing. So again, I miss you guys a lot, and I hope you're all doing well. Please contact me if you need anything at all, and I'm sure that I can help you. And I can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye.